Alright, I know that I said that I was done with the Tzeentch series, but I've been working on the same thing for Nurgle, and it's been driving me absolutely insane. My playstyle does not fit Nurgle whatsoever, so I need a break, and what better way to take a break from Nurgle than to do Tzeentch. So this is going to be the early campaign guide for Kairos Fateweaver. The reason I'm doing this one is because most recently, Legend of Total War did his short campaign guide thing that he's been working on, and he mentioned that Tzeentch is one of the harder campaigns to start, and I would agree. This is a relatively challenging campaign. You have a whole lot of stuff that can happen in the early campaign. Your early threats look something like this. You've got a Scumming faction that occupies this part of the continent. You have Oxyotl over here that's almost always going to steamroll through and start taking out your allies and right into your territory, sometimes showing up with more than one stack. You start out right across the way from Teclis, and your early campaign friend, I would say, Sothorael's Watchers, is almost always taken out by turn 4. So our strat here is going to be to save Sothorael, not for the purpose of having an ally in the region, but to bait Teclis into an uneven fight for the purposes of taking him out early. So initially, we're going to take out this Nurgle faction. We're going to do our best to befriend this Slaaneshi faction. We're going to eliminate Teclis. In doing so, we're going to meet these lizard men up here, and we're going to have to basically play defense over here until we have the situation with Oxyotl under control. We're going to steamroll Oxyotl, and then from there, once you're set up with some settlements that are actually producing some money, you need to make a decision on whether you're going to go up through Lustria or you're going to go up through this way. So, first off, first action, we're going to move Kairos to a position where he's almost ready to attack this. We're going to attack attach our hero, fight this guy. I'm going to show you this first battle, and most of the other battles I'm just going to skip through just for the purposes of keeping this thing relatively brief. The Blue Fire of Tzeentch is probably the best spell in the early game, if not the best magic missile spell in the entire game. Our primary enemy here are these toads, and the best way to use the Blue Fire of Tzeentch is to be oblique to the target, which I'll explain here in a second, because it allows you to fire completely across the formation. Usually it's going to aim at the middle of the formation, and by firing it obliquely, you're going to do the most amount of damage. Now, we don't have a super good opportunity here on these toads, but the best way to use the Blue Fire of Tzeentch is to be about halfway to 2/3 of the way of its maximum distance away from the target, because what that's going to do is allow the missiles to come in at a lower angle, because they've had to travel a farther distance, and it's going to rake across the entire formation. And it's going to hit multiple enemies. This is especially true when using it on infantry. Again, the biggest threat are these toads, so we want to try to hold them back. We'll use our hero there to do that while they get beat up. We're going to take the Winds of Magic Power Reserve. Now we have points. We're going to spend those very particularly in campaign movement range and in increased mobility. We're now going to take out this settlement, and I'll catch up with you guys after the battle. Very important, sack it. We're going to go for corruption, and the reason we're going for corruption is we are playing the great game, and we want to try to be on top as often as possible. So we're going to use corruption here. We don't really need these in the early game. In my opinion, changing of the ways cooldown. We are now going to force march Kairos to here. Now that we have ourselves into position, we're going to recruit a new lord and just farm whatever it is that you want. Strategist is pretty good, but in the early campaign we're a little bit strapped for cash, so we're going to go with, he's going to recruit two of these guys, Now, as far as management of our buildings, we're going to need money very quickly. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to delete this building. As far as technologies are concerned, I think that the most important thing that you can do for your campaign longevity is to rush to halt faction. You need this thing on a regular basis, particularly in the early game, but it becomes really helpful later on when you think you're about to get attacked. You just pop that down, and they're not moving. You can hit them with the teleport stance next turn. So to get there, we need to use this. Kairos cannot quite make this position, so we're going to put him into channeling stance and get him relatively close. We don't want to be so close that we can be pulled into any settlement battle here anyway. This guy is going to move to his maximum position. We're going for right here. So whatever gets us pretty close to there.
Moving on.
And then we're going to recruit 2 more. As far as our settlement is concerned, we're going to go ahead and go for growth and then upgrade our money. We're going to move this guy to right here so that he can meet Sothrel's Watchers. We're then going to go to our Unholy Manifestations, and we're going to pop this down on this guy. And that's going to give us Grimoires after a few turns. 250 Grimoires in 2 turns. So he's going to be stuck there for 2 turns. Now we're going to go into the Changing of the Ways. We're going to transfer this settlement to Sothrel's Watchers. And now we have set our trap. Take Kairos, go ahead and take this settlement. Now this one is totally up to you whether you want to occupy or loot and occupy, whether you want to deal with the revolt or not. I consider myself to be a hyper-aggressive player, so we're going to loot and occupy. Go ahead and upgrade our growth building. Binding of the Wills, another point. And this guy is at level 4, but at level 5, he's going to get access to both of these, so we're not going to spend that point this turn. Become friendly with Sothrel.
A smaller player of the great game approaches. How quick together.
Kairos can now reach this settlement. And again, loot and occupy. What we're going to do now is try to forge friendship with this Slaaneshi faction here, just so that we can keep them off of our backs for a little bit. They're eventually going to attack us if we don't do something about them now. We don't have the time to take out their entire landmass, because Teclis is going to be coming down this way, and we need Kairos in position to basically take him down. I know that we said that we were about to sell this settlement, but to make it a little bit more attractive, we're going to put that up in it. And then this guy should have his increased movement and his spread corruption. Binding of the Wills. And then for the next point, we're going to do the ambush success chance. Not for the purposes of really ambushing anybody, but for the purposes of hiding our army. So next turn, we're going to march back this direction and get there before Teclis can come in and take out Sothrel. Using Sothrel as bait. Now, because we chose to go with the aggressive option, we now have a revolt on our hands. So we raise another lord, and then we're going to give him 2 more blue horrors. Teclis comes on down. Next turn, he will make landfall, but he won't have enough movement to take on the settlement. Sometimes they won't attack you, sometimes they will. And we can auto-resolve this.
Ready to fight! The great schemer twists the world to his desire.
Going to ambush stance. Kairos is going to forced march 1 turn in this direction. We now have our next point to spend in technology. To make sure that we don't end up with a problem, we're going to transfer the Skull Carver's Abode to those guys, and we're just going to get the non-aggression pact. We don't necessarily want them walking around in our territory. You can see Teclis moves into position, but does not have enough movement range to be able to attack that settlement. We have now set up our trap. So now that our trap is set, we want to find a position to move this army that is in Teclis's path to this settlement, but also within force march distance to both these armies. But we also have the possibility that he will spot us, and if he does spot us, then he will run this way. So we want to be able to try and reach. So we probably need to be about there. Force march Kairos over. Transfer the entire army into that hidden army. Same thing with this guy. And now we have ourselves set up a couple armies in the area to take out Teclis, as long as he doesn't detect us. If he does detect us, he's going to run this direction. So we go to Sothorael's Watchers. Join war against Order of Lore Masters. We probably have the money to do that now. Just in case, we're going to raise another Lord here. Did not spot us. And we can auto-resolve this fight. And that's what we're going to do. Now you have a choice. You can either attack this position or this position. I find it easier to take out these armies like this than I do to do it the other way around. So we're going to force march Kairos to right here.
Change! Breathed in power! Agent of change.
Transfer
by fate.
the army.
Flickering fire, frazzling fiends. Master, here! For the great conspirator.
Transfer the army.
Searching for answers.
This guy is no longer necessary.
Perpetual flux is for the ravens.
This guy is also not necessary. This one, I just put a whole bunch of points into corruption.
Power magics.
We're gonna walk him this way,
Seek out.
and he is going to recruit.
Summon now.
Also, under diplomacy, if we come in here, we should find that this faction is now amenable to joining war against the Order of Lore Masters. So every action that we take against Teclis will now boost our rapport with these guys. Sometimes Sothorael will join, or not Sothorael, sometimes the Flaming Scribes will join.
Change the world. Mold it to
And
your
they will.
disaster.
And now we've got ourselves set up where we've got some friends in the region. If we take Kairos, put him in teleport stance, you can now teleport over to this position. We use this guy, move him right here, continue to recruit. They attacked us. It's up to you whether you want to fight this one. I find it much easier to fight in the field with Kairos, so we're going to fight it. We took some casualties that time around, so we're going to go ahead and take the replenishment. Moving on down the line towards our halt faction. Points from the last turn. Go ahead and take Burning Head. And Kairos. Go with Lightning Strike. Now we should have enough movement that if we attack this...
Loss is inevitable.
take the replenishment. Now, in this instance, we are going to be coming back this way. This is the settlement capital, but right now, we don't want it to be super torn up. We've now met these guys. They're probably going to be hostile to us rather shortly. So we need to move on taking out Teclis. And the way that we're probably going to do it is we're probably going to go here and then here, depending on what these armies do. And we need to take the second army that we brought over here and start building up a defensive force to hold this region. Because Kairos is going to have to leave here very shortly. We're going to temporarily sap this region. Cult manifests, and this is in a Tzeentch region, so more than most likely the Winds of Magic are going to be pretty higher here, so we're going to go with the Winds of Magic Stronger 20 Grimoires building. Now, we just made it on top, so we can try to get some more Grimoires. And the way I think that we're going to do that is to
Eternal Scryer. Follow me.
do one of these.
Flickering fire, frazzling fiends. Multicolored sands.
We don't want to be too close because we don't want to be detected.
Let us move.
Oh boy.
Seek out.
They have not detected us. Well, that kind of sucks. So we will auto-resolve that one to kill that army. We obviously cannot auto-resolve this. We won't be able to take that settlement if we do. So we're going to have to fight it. Okay, so we ended up with a decent result here. I didn't lose any units. And we're going to take the money because they attacked this army. They might attack me again. They will. Oh, no, they won't. We have a point for our guy here. We're going to leave it off because these become available at rank 10. Kairos. So if we were to attack this army here, we would draw in this wounded army, the army that we're going to attack, and this garrison. I don't know that we can do that with what we have, but what we can do is ambush that army that we just fought and probably wipe it out. We're going to take the replenishment because we need it. And my hope is now that I am here, this army will turn around and attack me versus my army that is trying to do the unholy manifestation thing. Because I would really like those grimoires, but if they do run up and attack that instead of Kairos' army, then I'll just take the settlement next turn.
The power is mine. Serve the changer of
Unrest foments.
We need the money. Okay, so I could totally auto-resolve this. But I think the more prudent thing to do, since we are fighting Teclis, is to retreat.
Retreat.
Well, I was kind of hoping... You know what? I won't lose my Exalted Flamer. I'll lose my Knights. And I'll lose... But I will wipe out the garrison. I think it's worth it.
We already know.
Military access for 1,000. Sure.
Our mind.
Staff is the locus
You have
of
no
the
chance of completing this at this point in time. You need a full stack. I usually like to take a line of Chaos Warriors with some Blue Horrors backing them up.
Another skill process.
What the F?
You are unworthy of our riches.
Alright, so now we definitely need some more troops.
Fateweaver.
The power is mine.
So Kairos is going to come over this way with this guy, take out this settlement, and then come back across to start dealing with Oxyotl that should be coming down on us any second. The thing is that this faction here, we saw that they sent an army out this way earlier. I'm not sure if the Skaven wiped it out or not. I'm going to go with no. So you have to be cognizant that there is an enemy here that's pretty strong compared to us now. And I think they're probably going to declare war on us in the next turn or so. We also have a transfer settlement. And we have enough to get back. Scout it. Small army.
Take them. Twist them into knots.
Tomorrow come.
Let's just go ahead and occupy it. This guy is going to sit here and play defense, so...
Those who serve the changer may come.
And then Kairos is going to... He's going to come back down through here. We're going to select this because it gives us a chance that our winds of magic are going to increase. And we need to get this up. Halt faction in 4 turns. This guy. Okay, looks like a mean army. So Thrail doesn't look like he's going to win that one. So... we'll do that.
Come to me.
Let us move.
I serve the Wind Lord.
Oh, got him. Okay, they have a small army sitting in Zlatan. We don't want a defensive alliance with him yet, because sometimes he will go to war with those Slaneshi faction, and we don't want to be drug into war with him quite yet. Oh, he was sitting in the actual settlement that we were going to attack. I forgot to restart after the post-battle options, but yeah, so we took that.
It's me. A boon from Master.
Let's see, can we get...
Slanesh, I receive you in the name of the letters.
What about...
Change the world. Mold it to your desires.
Any minute now we're going to have to deal with Oxyotl. So what we're going to do is this, and then bring this one up to here.
Embrace eternal change.
And do a little bit more recruiting.
Sorcerer Lord
Front
of
line. Yeah.
Chaos awaits.
Oracle.
Then this one.
Dazzling fiends.
Hope that they sally out against us over the turn. We could confederate this guy. We'll see what happens. How many turns? 1 turn from whole faction. Let's see what happens over the end turn. Looky there. So my options are as follows. I could set up an ambush trap. Or I could join the war. I can reach him. I could attack him. And I'm going to lose. But I could do serious damage to his army and retreat. And in doing so, I could then use the halt faction mechanic. I have enough grimoires to do it. It costs 250. And that would prevent him from attacking me over the end turn while I replenish. In doing so, I could also confederate the Flaming Scribes, allowing me to replenish in the region and recruit. I think that that's what we're going to do. Again, this is hyper aggressive, but
It's to address a slave and sorcerer of Tzeentch. As the... A plan. A plan. A plan.
Keeper of the distant. There is no prophet wondering what is.
okay. So as you guys saw, took some damage.
Kairos Fateweaver.
Okay, so we took some damage. That was expected.
For the great
We are going to
conspirator.
recruit some troops.
Guided by fate.
Trade those ones out.
Herald of change.
Halt. He's now stuck there. He cannot get any replenishment. Although I don't understand why he is currently replenishing. He shouldn't currently be replenishing. He's in our territory.
Meet your
So now that this guy has been unable to move for the turn, we're going to series attack him with these minor lords, and then after that we'll go ahead and attack him with Kairos. We do not have the ability to teleport stance that army. Alright, let's do this.
14 hours later.
So now that we have finished off Oxyotl's main army, there's really nothing to stop us from steamrolling through his lands. So if we look here, no military presence in this province, so that's here and here. So nothing to stop us there. They might raise an army or bring one in from over here. There'll be another province over here that we'll have to deal with, but basically we're going to be able to just kind of roll through. And what we're going to do here is I'll just go ahead and show you as we end the turn. But this one is basically built. We're going to allow this to sit here and just replenish. This army is not a threat to us. These guys might come over. We're going to hide this army.
Supreme sorcery.
This one's going to continue to recruit. What do we need?
It's me. Magic of change.
Kairos is going to sit there, recruit some Chaos Warriors. Kairos shouldn't have too much trouble with this. Yeah, close victory. Should be able to just steamroll over that pretty easily. Yeah, that would be an unacceptable result. I'd probably fight this manually. And then, did we get any activity over here? No, we didn't. So this guy's going to remain hidden to replenish, and then this guy is going to continue to do this recruit thing as necessary. We'll just do it for the heck of it. So you can kind of see the next steps. And what I would do is try to get
Divine immortality. Your divine notice shall one
almost there.
be rewarded.
So another fight like that wouldn't be able to take it. That's our guide on the early game for Kairos Fateweaver. We would continue to push across here to take out Oxyotl and continue to play defense over here while we did that. And then ultimately, you're going to have to make a decision whether you're going to go up the left side or go up the right side. I tend to stick to the right side since we've already started taking territory there. But I will say that there are some hostile factions over here that are going to start coming across if you start going into these lands over here. So what I usually do is I'll take Kairos across here, take all these settlements, and then once we've finished off Oxyotl, I'll take him across this strait here and take out the cult of Sotek and gift these regions to the Dark Elves up here in the form of Rakarth, and that'll cement us an ally in the area. And while we're here, we might as well take out these guys as well, because they'll usually only have those two settlements, sometimes fewer, by the time you get there. So you might as well have that stuff to gift to Rakarth for lots of money, and ultimately that will cement him as your ally for the rest of the campaign, provided he survives. I hope that you guys enjoyed this one. If you found it useful, then sound off in the comments section down below. Let us know, and hopefully we'll see you on a future video here at the Art of Safe Scumming.